The quality of your life, hear me close, the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the decisions you make. Remember that, y'all. The quality of your life comes down to the quality of the decisions that you make. Okay. And so if we are not making good decisions, we have to understand why we're not making good decisions. We have to really get to the root of why is this happening? Why am I not making the decisions I know I need to make? What's happening in my mind and my thoughts? What habits do I have that are causing me to not make the decisions I know I need to make? But the quality of our lives comes down to the quality of the decisions that we make. And so Ed Milet gave you a couple of things in there. He said the reasons why we don't make decisions, the fear of regret, fear of judgment, he named. So again, fears, when fears start running your life, when that becomes your operating system, and now you're indecisive. By the way, I heard it said this way, not making a decision is also a decision, right? Not making a decision is also making a decision. And so when you become indecisive, you're making a decision to just not make a decision. But why? Are you scared of regretting the decision? Do you not trust yourself? That's what we talked about at the end. Just trusting yourself. Do you not trust yourself? Have you made a bunch of poor decisions in your life and now you're at a place in your life where you don't really trust your decision making process? You never regain the confidence in yourself. Maybe that could be a thing. Maybe you are afraid of the judgment. You're afraid of what other people will say about the decision you make to leave the relationship, to change the business, to leave the job, to cut the person off, whatever. Like you're afraid about what people are going to say about it. These are the reasons why you might not make decisions. I don't know what it is for you, but you got to get to the bottom of it. You got to understand why you're not making the decision in your health life that you know you should make, or the decision in your financial life you know you should make. Because you got to be decisive if you want to get to the life you don't need a break from. Talked about driving through the smoke. He gave that Carl Edwards analogy of driving through the smoke when you can't see what's up ahead, but you just got to make the decision to keep going through, not knowing what's on the other side of that thing. Again, when I say, right, push you out of your comfort zone, do something that scares you. Driving through the smoke is a good analogy of doing something that scares you. You don't know what's on the other side. You just have to rely on your ability, your logic, your ability to maneuver, not knowing what's on the other side of that smoke. But the people, like Ed said, the people that go through the smoke are the champions. They're the people that design their ideal life. They're the people that face their fears. They're the people that go after and continue to go after the life that they don't need a break from, right? That's where you are. That's where we are. We're in the process of going after the life that we don't need a break from. So you got to start paying attention to those things. You talked about emotion versus logic. I was going to talk about that in 177 Mental Toughness Secrets. That's actually one of the chapters. One of the chapters says like champions know the difference between logic and emotion. All right. It's really important. The understanding that most of us, we're all emotional creatures. Most of us make decisions emotionally. That's why most people aren't really good at business and lots of things that like have to lower your emotion in order to make like good decisions. Because most of us make decisions emotionally. Most of us make purchasing decisions emotionally. Most of us eat emotionally, like what I feel like, what I'm in the mood for. Like it's kind of the way we operate. So when you start to want to design your ideal life, you want to start to break away from some of these things. You have to realize that when emotion goes up, logic goes down. They have an inverse relationship. When emotion gets high, when your emotion is high, right, in any direction, but when your emotion is high, your logic goes down. So it's really hard if you ever notice have an argument with a person or like talk to a person when they're like super emotional because there's no logic. And if two people get super emotional, it never goes anywhere, right? Because there's no logic, there's no basis for it. So for you going off to design your ideal life, again, you got to remember as logic as emotion goes up, logic goes down. So you got to make sure that you are practicing how to make decisions logically, not just emotionally, even though we're emotional beings. I know stuff is not always easy, y'all. It's not always easy, but you got to look internal to see like how much of this do you actually do? right? The last couple things he talked about your long-term versus short-term impact for making the decision. I heard it said another way from a guy. He said most people give up what they want most for what they want now, right? Most people, life gets too much and they give up what they want most. What you want most might be freedom, success, happiness, great family life. I don't know, whatever the end road is for you. Most people give that up for what they want now. They don't weigh the cost of the short term versus the long term impacts of making a decision, one way or the other, for the good or the bad. Some people don't make the decision. I'm in business. Some people don't make the decision to come into business because they don't think about the impact that this makes in 5 years of just doing something repeatedly for yourself for 5 years. They don't know what that looks like for them. They don't know what it's like to go on a personal development journey and just chop away at their mindset and their habits for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. They might say, these calls are too early in the morning, so I'm not going to show up, right? It's the impact of what that does, making that decision long term versus the short term comfort of, I just don't feel like doing that. So, again, understanding these things as we're making decisions. And then the last thing he said, that internal alignment versus external pressure. How many of us have fallen for the external pressures of other people as to the reasons why we make a certain decision versus how aligned we are with ourselves? These are all, again, the little small things, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get in your mind. As you see in the text, 177 mental toughness secrets. Champions are decisive. Champions are decisive. Like, if you want to design your ideal life, you got to make some decisions. And just like Ed said, you're going to regret some, you're going to have some that don't go the way that you want to, but like it's through the action of doing it that you get clarity, that you start to get into the place that you need to go. But you got to make a decision. Not making a decision is making a decision. Not making a decision to go to the gym or not making a decision to make that call. Like that's also making a decision. So you want to get on the other side of this, you got to be decisive. Champions are decisive. Here's what it says in text: says, while average performers are timid and lack confidence in their own judgment, champions are known for their ability to make decisions because especially under pressure. Now, let me just stop there really quick because like I said, a lot of times if you find yourself being indecisive, you lack confidence in yourself, in your own judgment. Like someone or yourself took that away from you. And it's a process to be able to build back, trusting your judgment, in your finances, building the confidence that you know you can make things happen, that no matter what the situation, the circumstance, like with you and God, you're good to go. So when you start trusting your judgment, you start trusting your gut, you start trusting God, when you start doing that, you can make decisions, good, bad, and different. Not every decision is going to be great, but you're willing to make it. Anyway, it says that I'll start again. It says, while average performers are timid and lack confidence in their own judgment, champions are known for their ability to make decisions, especially under pressure. The difference is courage and confidence. Even the best leaders are uncertain about their decisions in an environment of unprecedented change. The difference is their willingness to make a decision and take full responsibility for the outcome. Amateur performers habitually play not to lose and procrastinate because they fear making a mistake. The great ones know mistakes will be made and can be corrected. Their willingness to assume full responsibility for their decisions eliminates the need to gather more input than is absolutely necessary. Developing a sound decision-making process while understanding every decision is somewhat a gamble is the foundation of superior leadership. Professional performers can lead people and organizations effectively under such high pressure constraints because they possess the self-trust necessary to make decisions without fear. Generally speaking, the higher the leadership position, the greater and the deeper the leader's self-trust must be. Courage, self-trust, and the willingness to assume full responsibility for the outcomes of their decisions are the mandatory traits of competent and effective leaders. You have to be okay to make a mistake, to not make the right call, and then to own it. I want you, like, if you go back and listen to that entire Ed Milet video there, it's like 35 minutes, 40 minutes, I don't know, something like that. I listen to everything really fast, so like everything speeds up for me. But in there, he talks about these things as well, right? He talks about the fact that uh, um, uh, even if you're wrong, right? Champions, successful people, they can change their mind very quickly. Sometimes based on ego or what we believe a leader is, a leader should be consistent in the way they think. But actually, the trait of very successful people is their willingness to change their mind. If I get new information, if I get new input, and I realize that the call that I made, the decision I made to go a certain direction is actually not right, I'm not just going to stay in it because I made the call and I got to see it all the way through. No, I got new information that says, I probably didn't think of that the right way. Let me change. I change my mind. I change my mind. How often do you just say, I changed my mind on that? This is a key also to knowing if you are growing. If Because if you're growing, that means you're getting new information. That means you're learning something new, which means you're going to have some contradictory thoughts. You're going to have some things where you're going to get new information and be like, oh, I used to always think this. Well, guess I changed my mind now. Or you hold on to those old beliefs, right? That's how you know you're growing, is because you change your mind. You're like, oh, yeah, I used to think this, but now I think this. How often are you doing that in your life? Because if you're not, that's a telltale sign that we're not growing at the pace we need to in all the areas. You should change your mind. A leader change they're decisive enough to make a decision, but when they get new information, they can easily change their mind. Be like, oh, I was wrong. I take ownership of that. Full responsibility of that outcome. My bad. Didn't see all the signs, but now I know this is the way we're going, and I make another decision. Your willingness to assume the responsibility, not be fearful of making a mistake, not be fearful of what someone's going to say about the call that you made. These are the traits of being a champion, of being a leader, of being somebody that is designing their ideal life. These are the traits. So these are things we got to work on. You have to work on your decisiveness, your decision making process. Do you have a sound decision making processes? Have you made a lot of crucial under pressure type of decisions? And if so, how'd they go? Do we need to switch how we think about decision making? Do we need to switch how we're thinking about regret or failure? Right? What holds us back from getting to our ideal life? These are the little things, y'all. If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you want your life to change, you want your outcomes to change, you have to think about this thing differently. And so you got to learn how to be decisive. You got to learn how to make a decision and live with it and trust your judgment, trust yourself. Know that you will get through, know that it will be all right. Develop courage, build self confidence. Like these are the things that get you to your ideal life, nothing external, not your circumstances. These things that you start to embody. When you start trusting yourself and trusting your judgment and making a call, good, bad, and different, right or wrong, doesn't matter. You don't need 1,000 people's input. You don't need to wait for 25 years to put in place the thing you want. Like you're decisive. You're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I get the facts, I get the information. All right, let's go do it. 6 months later, you're like, yeah, that wasn't the right way to do it. Okay, get new information, figure out another plan, make another decision. Boom, go do that one. Okay, that one didn't work after a year. Okay, another decision. Like the quality of your life will come down to the quality of the decisions that you're making. And if we're not making good decisions, the quality of our life won't be good. But I'm here to encourage you to just focus on these things so you can start making better decisions. So you can start becoming more decisive. So you can start trusting yourself more. So you can start believing in yourself more and having courage to make a call. That's what leaders do. You make a call and then people follow. Just like Ed said, sometimes we're certain, pretty certain, relatively certain that this is the way to go. But most times you don't know. You just know that if you find out it's not the right way, turn around. You're like, yep, not going to go that direction anymore. It's not the way I thought we're going this way. You are all leaders of your own life, whether you lead an organization, in a business, your family, whatever, you're leaders in your own life. You got to make the calls. You got to make the decisions because those decisions are what's going to change your life. The action step for today says take a decision you've been putting off for a while and decide on a course of action within the next 24 hours. Take a decision that you've been putting off. Like we all have decisions that we've been putting off for a while and decide today on a course of action within the next 24 hours. Decide what you're going to do towards that decision. Decision making skills are like muscles, they can only be built through use. The opposite of that is true. If you don't build them, you don't have that muscle. You ever know people that don't make decisions? They're indecisive about everything. Everything slows down for them. They don't have that muscle built. You want to go off and design your ideal life? I'm here with you on the journey. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. Nobody ever tells you. I'll always remind you, right? You deserve to win. People are counting on you to win. People are counting on you to take in this information and do it. They're really counting on you. You don't know who it is. You don't know when it's going to be, but you're going to be super grateful when you've built the capacity to handle the things that God is going to throw you. You're going to be grateful that you started to do this process earlier, right? Sooner rather than later. You started to practice these things. By the way, this personal development journey, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. The more extreme you are, the faster you get there. That's actually the way that it works. It's just about how fast you want to get there. You could read one book a month. You could read 6 books a month, right? It's just what you choose. But again, I'm here with you on the journey, and I know you can go out there and make it happen, yo. I love you guys. Enjoy your Monday. See you back here on Wednesday. Take care.